Hey guys, there are some updates from the devs in patch 1.6 and the main talking point has been about a new game mode for endgame content similar to MOC. There has been a lot of buzz about Erudition characters being much stronger in this new game mode, but after reading the developer notes myself, I don't think this is necessarily true and might just be some people overhyping the changes. So let's just get right into what will change and how I think it will affect the future meta. The biggest change is that Star Rail will introduce a new endgame content called Pure Friction. Pure Friction is a new game mode where enemies will continuously respawn and you earn points by dealing damage or defeating enemies within a certain number of cycles. The more damage you deal and enemies you defeat in those cycles, the higher your score will be. And I'm assuming you'll have to reach a certain score to get 3 stars similar to MOC to get max Stellar Jades in this mode. Another similarity to MOC is that Pure Friction also offers different buffs that change every 2 weeks. Before we talk about the other changes in patch 1.6, let's talk about the hype surrounding Erudition characters. Because of how you can obtain points by dealing damage to continuously respawning enemies, people are more or less thinking that, wow, this means that I can use Erudition characters to deal damage to 5 enemies every turn and get very high points. Well, that can be true, but it all comes down to how the point system works. For example, do you get that many points by clearing the lesser mobs and not the elite enemies? How many points will you get by just dealing damage? What's the difference in the points obtained when defeating elite enemies or bosses compared to just defeating lesser mobs? These are questions that will come into play into determining the meta in this game mode. If it turns out that you can get a lot of points just by dealing spread out damage, which Erudition characters are very good at, or just by defeating the lesser mobs, which again, Erudition characters are good at, then it might be a game mode where Erudition characters like Jingyuan will flourish. But if it turns out that you don't get enough points from just defeating the lesser mobs and dealing damage, the hype surrounding Erudition characters might just be an overhype. From the game modes we've seen so far, for example, the Planar Infinity game mode or event that we just had, it seems that modes like this usually give you a lot more points if you are able to defeat the elite enemies or bosses. And if that's true, Hunt or Destruction characters are just better at single target damage, and the speculation saying that the strength of Erudition characters will be stronger in this mode might just be an overhype. Now that I've voiced my opinion on this topic surrounding this game mode, let's talk about the other changes surrounding endgame content. This Pure Friction game mode will intertwine with Memory of Chaos. In patch 1.6, Memory of Chaos will last 4 weeks, and every 2 weeks, a new phase of Pure Friction or Memory of Chaos will be also running. You can take a look at this diagram for more info about how it works. Essentially, when a Memory of Chaos phase starts, you'll have 4 weeks to complete it, but 2 weeks after it starts, a new Pure Friction phase will also start running that also gives you 4 weeks to complete. Then 2 weeks into the first Pure Friction phase, the previous MOC phase will stop and be replaced by a new MOC phase that will run for another 4 weeks, and so forth. Now, some other changes related to endgame content that are useful to know are some of the following. MOC and Pure Friction will both have 12 stages per phase instead of the current 10 stages, which means that you can get 720 Stellar Jades per phase. Every phase of MOC and Pure Friction, there will also be an Autoclear function until a max of stage 7. So say that if you clear the previous phase of MOC until stage 5, in the next phase of MOC, you don't need to clear the first 4 stages as they will automatically be considered cleared. But the max is stage 7, so if you cleared the previous MOC until stage 10, you'll still have to start from stage 7 and not stage 10 directly. This saves time. There are also some other changes unrelated to MOC and Pure Friction that improve quality of life, like reward distributions and also the way to upgrade relics, when you salvage relics, etc. But you can have a read of the full official dev notes in the link that I also included in the description. Let me know what you think about my opinion regarding the new game mode and the Erudition characters hype, and subscribe for more guides.